Hi, welcome back to Analytical Media. We are a consortium, a group of therapists, college professors, academics, and well-published peer-reviewed authors. Today's question came inside a comment, and here's the comment. I don't get why it's so hard for some people to comprehend an adult could be getting bullied by a group of adult bullies. People are getting bullied every single day by someone in some form or another. It's a fact of life. And it can get extreme, like this, meaning targeted individuals. Gang stalking, targeted individuals. And it is much more complicated than that. Gang stalking isn't a bully, a group of bullies. It's much more involved than that. And so, something that is very rarely done is going to a government resource and getting the official definition of gang stalking. And the only thing that exists that we are aware of is this document that I'm about to read you and talk to you about. It's from the FBI Office of Private Sector, OPS. Commonly known as the OPS, the Office of Private Sector. It's a division within the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, which of course is part of the U.S. Department of Justice. This office, this department, was established to foster collaboration between the FBI and private industry. OPS serves as the primary liaison for information sharing, threat mitigation, and partnership building to protect economic and national security. It operates under the FBI's intelligence branch and emphasizes a, quote, one-voice approach for the Bureau when engaging with businesses. This office, OPS, created a definition of gang stalking. And this is the definition. One of the few, if not the only definition coming from the government about gang stalking. And let me read that to you now. Their definition of gang stalking is this: targeted individuals are a group of people that organize around the conviction that they are victims of a sprawling conspiracy to conduct continuous physical and electronic surveillance, illegally harass them with torture, harass them with mind-controlled weapons, and a low-frequency electromagnetic wave causing them to experience psychotic symptoms. They allege that they are being gang-stalked by several entities, to include the government, the financial elite, aliens, their neighbors, Freemasons, or a combination of any of the groups. Now, does that sound like bullies? No. Let's go over this. The victims, gang stalking victims, are a result of a sprawling, that means big, sprawling conspiracy. Covers all areas sprawling. It's growing, it's big, it's vast. Conspiracy to do what? Who's the victim of the conspiracy? The TIs, targeted individuals. And what is it like? It is a continuous, it doesn't mean some days they're there and some days they're not. It means once it starts, it keeps going. It's conspiracy to conduct continuous physical and electronic surveillance. Do bullies conduct electronic surveillance? No. Electronic surveillance is complicated and expensive. And illegally harass them with torture. Does the bully illegally harass you with torture? Does the bully torture you, or does he push you around a little bit? Is it continuous, or is it only when you happen to bump into the bully? And is it illegal what the bully does if he just says to you with a snide tone, "Hello, Joe"? That's not illegal, even if your name's Bill. But according to the government, it must be illegally harassing in this way, with mind control weapons. Does the bully use mind control weapons? We're talking about weapons. Talking about sophisticated electronic devices that controls your mind. And specifically, low frequency electromagnetic waves, which will cause the victim to become psychotic or show symptoms of psychosis. Electromagnetic waves of a low frequency. Does a bully have this equipment available to them? As far as we know, no one does. People guess and suppose that the government does because they've tested something. But the government's never admitted any of this. There's no proof that the government has these things. It's never been proven that the government is conducting continuous physical and electronic surveillance. It's assumed they do that. And who do the victims of gang stalking, the people who believe they're being gang stalked, who do they claim is doing this? They claim several entities, which includes the government, the financial elite, that means the rich, the really rich, aliens, that's people from other planets, not people without proper government documentation that come from south of the border, their neighbors, and Freemasons. So gang stalking is much more than simple bullying. And we know it. Are you being tortured, affected by weapons at a distance? Weapons you can't see? You can only feel their effects? High technology things? Bullies don't do high technology things. There aren't hundreds of bullies. As anyone who claims to be gang stalked would admit, no 2 or 3 people could do it. It would be dozens, if not hundreds of people. Because gang stalking goes 24/7, not just 9 to 5. And we know there are people out there on the street. Lots of people. You go out there, you might bump into 4 or 5, 10. Plus the people that are running the conspiracy, the people that are using the electronic weaponry. There's a lot of people. And the bully is likely to be very small. And if it's a group of bullies, they're not likely to have much interest in someone they don't know. Why do this to someone they don't know? Well, you do it for money, or because you're part of a group, or a gang, or it's your job because you work for the government. Now, why did the OPS, the Office of Private Sector, come up with this definition? Because the members of that office had received a cease and desist letter from people claiming to be gang stalking victims, or TIs. And I'm going to read you this letter. The interesting part about this letter was it was not sent directly to the Office of Private Sector. It was hand-delivered to members who work there, members of the office, employees of the Office of Private Sector, hand-delivered to their homes. Someone came and put it in their mailbox or rang the doorbell and handed it to them. And so they had to respond. OPS had to respond. Not to the letter, the cease and desist, but had to respond to the rest of the office, to government agencies, other FBI agents, to let them know this was happening. And here's the letter. It is my opinion that you and your organization are involved in a serious crime called gang stalking. I have compelling reasons and evidence that you are attacking civilians with psychological torture techniques, including stalking, gang stalking, harassment, and intimidation. Now, could that be true? It could be true. but you have to prove it's true. He says, I have compelling reasons and evidence. Well, we'd like to see them, and none of it is mentioned here. He goes on to say, I am a part of a larger group representing the interests of more than 2,500 targeted individuals. We demand an explanation for these activities and compensation for pain, suffering, and illegal torture. A similar letter has been sent to General John Raymond at the Air Force Space Command, where he is involved with illegally satellite tracking and microwave weaponry. We have sworn affidavits from 2 FBI agents confirming that this illegal program is occurring. We have the training manual for gang stalking, and we have the FBI's secret manual covering these covert operations. We have statements from 25 medical doctors confirming that these programs exist. Now, those are really powerful statements, and if they were true, they would be absolutely fantastic evidence. But he doesn't mention any of the evidence and provides none of that evidence in this document. He goes on to say, you can be sued in a civil court for your criminal activity, which is not technically correct. You would have to be in a criminal court. But you could be sued for damages from alleged criminal activity in a civil court. I demand that you immediately cease and desist your illegal activities, including the use of government personnel and external groups such as InfraGard and Citizens Corp, which may also be participating. Such operations are in violation of Article 52 of the Geneva Conventions. This cease and desist order is to inform you that you are harassing, stalking, and intimidating through your actions, which are illegal and will not be tolerated. I demand that you immediately cease and desist. Should you continue to pursue these activities in violation of this cease and desist order, I will not hesitate to pursue legal action against you. This cease and desist order demands that you immediately discontinue and do not at any point in the torture, this time torture spelled T-U-T-U-R-E, under any circumstances do the following: pursue, harass, attack, strike, bump into, brush up against, push past, grab, hold, threaten, telephone, via cellular or landline, instant message, page, fax, email, follow, stalk, shadow, disturb the peace, keep under surveillance, hack electronic devices, gather information about and or block improvements at home, work, social gatherings in public areas or religious functions. You may already have violated numerous federal and state laws, including 18 U.S. Code 2381 treason, 18 U.S. Code 2340 conspiracy to commit torture, 18 U.S. Code 2382 misprision of treason, 18 U.S. Code 2384 seditious conspiracy, Code 2389 recruiting for service against the U.S., Code 241 conspiracy to deprive constitutional rights, 2261A interstate stalking, 875C interstate communications, 223A1C harassing telephone calls, and that, by the way, was 47 USC, and all the rest have been 18. And this also is 18 U.S. Code 1961, Organized Crime Control Act of 1980, RICO, and numerous other state and city codes. Should you choose to continue your current activities, I will not hesitate to file complaints and publicly expose your organizing criminal activity. Nor is it a waiver of any rights or remedies in this or any other related matter. I insist on your immediate compliance and expect a written response within 2 weeks. And there's a signed name there. He also includes a pamphlet which was given to the individuals that the letters were delivered to, and their neighbors, as a matter of fact. And in that pamphlet, it shows, there's a diagram with pictures showing how the government tracks you, all of us. How does that work? How do they do it? Well, step number 1, satellite tracking. Using the Lockheed GPS satellite, very specific. Step number 2, relay the GPS coordinates to Schriever Air Force Base, and General Raymond is the commander, according to this diagram. Step 3, Schriever Air Force Base uses a supercomputer, which then relays to cell towers subliminal messages. Those cell towers then send those messages to all the individuals who are being stalked. And it lasts, according to the diagram, 24/7. These directed energy waves from the cell tower are directed at the individual to hit them in the head. It will cause a ringing in the ears at 450 megahertz. It must be the frequency of the wave, because of course human beings could never hear that anywhere near that high. Not million hertz, megahertz. They could hear up to 20,000 hertz, but not many times more than that. And this is, by the way, patent number 5,289,438. And the microwave beam, by the way, which is directed to your head from the satellite, is 3,600 to 3,750 megahertz. Now that's quite specific, but they offer no evidence. Nothing. You very often hear people say the gang stalking could be done by some people at work. It could be done by your neighbors, some church. But as you can see, even by the definition of the Office of Private Sector, their definition of gang stalking, and the common one that's used, that's not the case. Gang stalking is very specific. It involves high technology weapons. It involves billions of dollars worth of equipment. It involves the Air Force, satellites in space. Cell phone towers are privately owned, and it's not that easy to get that information from a cell phone tower into law enforcement. It's not that easy. It's not just a matter of asking. It takes court involvement, and it could take a long time. Not to mention the fact that these cell phone towers, most of their capacity would dealing with 300 million, 330 million people in the United States. It wouldn't leave too much time for them to direct phone calls, all of which makes this unlikely. But it doesn't make it impossible. But remember the basic contention here. We have to provide evidence of this. And I doubt that anybody did this type of information. They read it somewhere, probably from somebody else claiming to be gang stalked, claiming to be a TI. Very specific, gigantic contentions here. Though it is difficult to define, most people know in law enforcement and the government what TIs are. They know what gang stalking is. And it is much more complicated, much more highly defined than some people would like to admit to. So this came from the question, could these not just be bullies? Because we all know bullies and there are groups of bullies, and of Couldn't these be bullies? No, it couldn't be. Unless they're extremely wealthy bullies who have deep ties to the shadow governments of the world, none of which there's any evidence for. There are going to be those of you out there who are going to say, hey, I am a gang stalking victim. I am a targeted individual. And so to you I say, I'm sorry. It'd be a terrible thing if it's true. You say it's true? It's a terrible thing. But don't you realize you must prove it? You have to have evidence. If your only evidence is I don't feel good, people bump into me on the street, and I read somewhere, I was in a forum, I was on YouTube, and I saw from gang stalking people who had similar things, this is what's causing it, there's my evidence. You don't have any evidence. You have to recognize that. You've got to find a way to gather the evidence. And for many people who think that gang stalking is quite possible, they don't claim to be victims, but they claim it is quite possible, they don't have a good definition of gang stalking. They see it as a very casual thing that could be conducted by bullies in the neighborhood or at the church down the street that you don't think likes you. But it's because they don't understand how complicated it is for those claiming to be victims of gang stalking. It's very complicated, involving, as you can see, satellites, the United States Air Force, cell phone towers, that's Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, etc., all tied together, beaming electronic weaponry towards your head, because it has to be involving advanced weaponry, advanced things that you've read about, but not that have ever been proven. You've read articles where they're suggesting that it might be true, but the government never confirmed it. No tests ever confirmed it. There's no evidence to confirm it. But people who claim to be victims take these articles and use those to be the evidence to say, well, yeah, my head hurts and I got a ringing in my ears, and I read online that this is gang stalking, so there's my evidence. But nobody proved that any of that's true. There is no proof. So this complicated advanced weaponry and advanced technology that's being used against you, which is, as I read to you from the OPS, these people assume that it could come from a bunch of places, including aliens, people from outer space. The heart of gang stalking has always involved advanced technology, weaponry, and equipment. Always. Something new. So new that no one's ever proven it exists. It's all rumors. And anything less than that, these high technology weapons and this big government involvement, military, the government, big involvement, big organizations who are picking on you, gang stalking you, torturing you. Anything less than that, it's not gang stalking. The neighbor guy's picking on you and he and his 3 friends are picking on you. That's not gang stalking. Not according to the definition I read you from the Office of Private Sector, OPS. So you got to buy the big thing, the big picture, because you can't buy the little one. Of course, someone could pick on you, and of course, bullies could, but that's not gang stalking. Gang stalking is involved using subliminal messages beamed at your head 24/7 at 450 megahertz. Not 400, not 800, 450. And you can find that all under patent number 5289438. And the satellite uses this scalar microwave beam at 3600 to 3750. Not 5000 to 10,000 megahertz, 3600. to 3750 megahertz. That's awful specific. You gotta buy it, or it's not gang stalking. And that's the point that we're trying to make. That the definition, one of the only ones available, lists gang stalking that way. It describes it, it defines it that way. I read you the definition earlier. So to answer the question, couldn't it just be bullies? Because there's lots of bullies. Common. It's true. But no, that's not what gang stalking is. That's bullying. There's a term for that. Bullying, not gang stalking. Which is much more involved, much more torturous. You evade the bully, you evade everything harmful by evading the bully. But with gang stalking, you can't evade the bully because you got microwaves being beamed into your head. You're being tortured with advanced electrical devices. You become ill because of these invisible waves that are coming into your home. That's gang stalking. It's quite different from bullying. If you like this information, subscribe, like the video, and recommend it to your friends. Our goal is to educate, to do a deep dive into sensitive issues that are ignored. If you like that, if you like psychology, philosophy, mental health issues, human relations issues, then recommend us. Promote this channel to help other people. And if you think it's a waste of time, don't. But if you like it, recommend it. And maybe we will do good together. We'll help together. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope all's gone well for you. And hopefully you'll join us in the next video. Take care.